just when you thought it was safe to go onto iTunes. This is Next Level Guy, the only website that makes self-development as fun as going to the movies. It's time to take the red pill and escape the Matrix.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Next Level Guy Show podcast with your host, Ian Dawson-Mackay. Today's guest is Amanda Bobby Cooper. Amanda is an American mixed martial arts fighter whose nickname is ABC. She competes in the Strawweight division of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, otherwise known as UFC. Utilising a boxing approach, the 26-year-old entered the UFC via the famed MMA reality TV show The Ultimate Fighter, and she continues to help women's MMA evolve by demonstrating great technique and showcasing her talent. The UFC summarises her fighting style that's powerful, saying she's unpredictable, switches stance, utilises a good guard, and has great submissions. In this interview, we just quickly discuss her story, MMA training, and so on. We only had about 20 minutes, so we didn't really get into the meat, but we did cover some great topics. But before we get into that, a quick word about the affiliates. I've managed to build up some great relationships with some awesome companies. This allows me to obtain special discount codes, deals, and listener exclusives. Please go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates for further information. Currently, I'm loving The Tribes Are Mentor book by Tim Ferriss, Ross Edgley's awesome new book, The World's Fittest Book, Mr. Skin, where you can see your favourite entertainment stars in very little. On it are just going from strength to strength with Alpha Brain and some awesome new supplements. So to see some free trials, special deals, discount codes, and so on, please go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. Now, just for record, this was recorded before her fight with Mackenzie Dern, and I would love to have Amanda on again. We only had 20 minutes or so. I thought she was a superb guest. There was so much more we were looking to cover, and I'm really intrigued in her outlook on life and fighting and training, and I think she's going to go from strength to strength. And now, let's get to the interview with Amanda Bobby Cooper. I hope you have as much fun listening to this one as I did doing the interviewing. Hope you enjoy. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it. So, if we met in a party or a bar or some other cliche setting and asked who you were, what you did, and why people might know your name, what would you say?
If you met me at a party and you knew who I was, I'd probably be pretty outgoing and say, I'm someone that, started doing martial arts from a young age, and I'm just very passionate and about my goals and my career, and I would just have a drink with you, or tell a story.
Now, you're a mixed martial artist in the UFC. Is there such a thing as a normal day for you? Is there like media components that you need to fulfill, the training requirements? Can you just give a kind of overview of what a standard day is for yourself?
Yeah, my whole life is training, fighting, eating right. I typically wake up 8 o'clock in the morning, feed my dog, have breakfast, go to the gym around 10. I train for a few hours. Then a lot of times, there'll be people at the gym. Everyone goes to lunch, or maybe we go to the beach when it's summer. Do a couple team things with whoever is at the gym in the morning. Go back home, relax for a little bit, take care of my dog. I live alone, and I have a dog that I obviously have a dog that I play with, and he keeps me company. And then at night I go back to the gym and train with a team. The nighttime classes are pretty hard, and always live work, so I get a bunch of good work in at night, and then I just go home, watch TV. I might go to the movies with my teammates, and then head off to bed.
Well, you can't get a much better training partner than a dog. There's nothing better than taking your dog, and all they want to do is walk and run and just keep going. It's that motivation, to push you a bit further and push you harder.
Oh yeah, he's kind of a wuss though. I try to take him on runs. He's good for about 3 miles.
And what sort of dog is he?
He's a sort of pit bull. And I've had pit bulls before. They usually have more energy. He's pretty lazy.
So MMA is a multi-layered sport where you've got punching, kicking, you've got Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you've got grappling, all the kind of different components. So how do you actually sit and, build a fight camp? How do you plan for an opponent? How do you analyze? How do you make sure you're ready for each opponent that you're fighting?
Yeah, I typically, find out I have an opponent. I get with my coaches. We watch film a couple times just to know, what they're doing, what their game plan is. At this level, I pretty much know who everyone is, and know the type of fighters that I'll be up against. So, but I definitely do watch it, and I think not only what their strong points are about, but I think about what my strong points are and how they go up against my opponent. So, I watch it a few times in the beginning of my fight camp, and then I get into training, and then definitely, a couple weeks out before the fight, we watch it again and just make sure we're not missing anything. And there's not a whole lot, you can do within, that short notice, like 2 week out. There's not much I can do, but it just makes sure I'm on the right track. And that's just, I train a lot of, what I'm doing and what works for me, and keep in mind what my opponent is good at and what I think that they'll be trying to do during the fight.
So is the fight camp, is that set up to focus on your opponent, or do you look at like where their weaknesses are and focus on your own strengths, or do you look to build up your own weaknesses compared to what the opponent might exploit?
Yeah, I think I try not to overwhelm myself with too many new techniques during fight camp. That's what I use like outside of fight camp for. And but during fight camp, I'll look at the videos and give my coaches, and he'll say that this is really important for this fight, and you need to drill that. And I do a lot of drilling and a lot of leg work.
So when you're just doing your sort of normal prep work and you're training and you're developing your skills, away from a fight camp, is there such a thing as a standard week? Because there's so many different components of jiu-jitsu, of martial arts, of striking, etc. Do you just work on what you feel that needs working at the time, or is there more of a structured plan that you sort of utilize?
Well, the night classes are a lot of technique. I've been to a lot of gyms, and my gym, I think, especially focuses a lot of technique and a lot of drilling. So during the mornings when I go in, it's basically just for me. I do strength and conditioning that's just for me, or I do pad work that's just for me. It's really tailored drilling just for me. It's really tailored to me. It's like private lessons with each of my coaches. And then at nighttime, I do a lot of drilling. There's jiu-jitsu 5 nights a week. There's MMA 3 nights a week. There's Muay Thai classes. So, at night I get a lot of technical work, and then at the end of classes there's always live work, so it's really good. I think my gym does a really good job at making sure there's a lot of drilling for each aspect of MMA, and there's a lot of live work for each.
So I've recently been doing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now for about 8 months, and something I really struggled with was, well, turning on the aggression. I could roll with people, and I wouldn't strike when I thought I could, really utilize my strength or really go for the kill, so to speak. And they were taking, my opponent would take advantage of my sort of hesitancy. Is it a way to turn on the aggression? Is that a good thing, or is that a bad thing? Should you be looking to, to use your aggression during a fight, or is that the wrong way of looking at it?
Well, I think I obviously started martial arts when I was 10 or 11 years old, so it's a little different for me. But I think the important thing that you got to remember when you're teaching, especially kids, is that it's not an anger sport. It's not something that you fight because you're angry, or you fight because you don't like the person. You fight. A lot of people are fighting. They wouldn't get into the sport if they didn't like it. So it's just something you got to realize that you actually fight worse when you're angry. You don't want to hurt your opponent. Obviously, I want to win. I want to do what I have to do to win. If that involves them hurting, that's okay. But when you're in the gym and you're not thinking of like strangling people, you're thinking of like, does my technique work? Why am I moving when they move? Why do they move when I move them? And just think of it as an art, as a sport, and it's a game. It's a chess match. So I think just remembering and always telling you in your head that this is a sport and not something that's aggression filled, or I never really had to think about it that way, just only for the fact that I think I started at such a young age that it all made sense to me when I got older.
So after each session, is there something that you do? Do you have a routine, a way of analysing it to see where you were going well and how you could fix it and how you can improve it? Do you use things in addition to this, like writing a journal, meditation? How do you continually improve apart from the training?
Each fight camp, I do keep a training log and a food log. So, I write down what I did the day for training. I write down everything that goes into my mouth. And then at the end of the day, I always rate myself on a scale 1 to 10, like how I did that day, how I felt. It's always like on a scale 1 to 10, like, maybe I write down a 7, and that's because I ate really well. I had some carbs. I trained well. I felt good. I didn't train too hard. And that way I can kind of see, like, what my body's good at, what I feel good at, what I need to train, to not overtrain, to train enough, to feel like I got enough workout. And then each fight, that it helps with food too. Each fight's different. I can see, like, last fight camp I started eating this when I was 4 weeks out, and it helped me have more energy. And I think that's important. I also do a lot of visualization. I write in a journal every night about goals for the next day. I always set a goal. I always write, one thing I can get better at, one thing I did really well, and that helps me as well.
So how is your training set out? Is it very rigid that you have to do 5 sets of this or 3 times 5 of this? Or is it quite fluid and you just kind of see how you feel and you just take it with a pinch of salt? You do this and you think, I need to work on that. How do you approach your training?
Yeah. If I go to if I know 2 hour strength and conditioning, I will don't always go to max rep. Or like if my strength and conditioning guy says do 10 to 12 or 10 to 15, I always go to what he took, the 15. So that's just a small goal that I'm like, I know when I'm lifting, I know I don't cheat myself out. Go to the max because you'll be proud of yourself. Or maybe I'll set a goal that says challenge. I like to always have a competition. Because I think it makes you, even if you're uncomfortable in the situation. Maybe a goal I have one day, I say I'm going to go up to Danny, because Danny's really good at jiu-jitsu, and I'm going to say, Danny, I challenge you to a 10-minute match. Let's see who can get the most taps. And I think always challenging yourself and putting yourself, like challenging someone in the open like that, does well. That way, when fight comes and you're standing next to your opponent squaring off with them, you've just been through so many challenges and uncomfortable situations. You're not uncomfortable at that point.
So what's it like in the back, when you've got your hands taped and you're ready to go? What kind of thing goes through your mind? Do you have any sort of rituals that you do? Is there anything that, you focus on? Do you have certain songs you play? Or do you just sit in and soak up the atmosphere? If we watched you in the back just before a fight, what sort of things would you do and be thinking about?
Yeah, before I get my hands wrapped, we get to the venue. We have a lot of time, so I'm just kind of watching the fights, hanging out with my coaches and my team. I'm just kind of relaxing, trying not to think about it too much. Get up, kind of stretch around. Then I get my hands wrapped, and it all kind of goes into play from there. I start warming up and feeling the fight, and allowing myself to feel nervous or excited or whatever feelings I got. I allow that, but before the fight, I try not to allow that too much. I try to just block it out and just relax for a little bit, so I don't have to think. I don't want to be sitting in the back, nervous or get myself worked up for 5 hours. So after I get my hands wrapped, start warming up, getting loose. That's when I start to get all the excitement and all the emotions through my body.
Now, something I love doing is I love training with music. It kind of inspires me, it gets me a motive, it gets me sort of functioning and sort of pushing like harder through the weight session and stuff like that. Do you have particular songs that you play? Do you have a playlist or any particular music that you listen to that gets you motivated just before the fight?
I normally I always start a playlist during fight camp, and then I'll add songs. Oh, I like this song. I add this song. I add songs to the playlist. And then my playlist pretty much filled up by the time I fight, which is really cool because I'll start to remember the times I found the songs. Maybe I was out with my team and, we liked the song, or maybe, we're in the gym training hard one day and the song turned on and we all got excited. And, it kind of just reminds me of like how far I've been in fight camp and how good I'm doing and stuff.
So away from fighting, in the UFC, you've also got all the media requirements where, you've got to do the interviews, the sponsorship deals, the promotional tours and things like that. How have you found that? Have you found that quite a struggle in addition to the fighting? Do you think it takes anything away from your time? Is it hard to focus on that and also doing your fighting, your training and that sort of thing? Or does it ever become enjoyable even?
No, I really like it. I think it's something I don't have to do too much of it, so I'm not, overwhelmed. It's not, taken down on my training or anything. I really like it. I think I do well with interviews, and I think I can get, I like getting better and better at them. So I enjoy the media. I enjoy all that. Makes me feel, I'm staying in the game. I'm, staying, mentally in it. I mean, I'm always, even when I'm at home, if I'm doing an interview, I'm always thinking about my career and, what's next and what's behind me and what I've done. So I enjoy all the media.
And is there any particular interview questions, that drive you crazy, that that you feel have been answered so many times, or is there questions that you get fed up of hearing that you think doesn't give like a true representation of women's mixed martial arts, or the evolution of the game? Is there things that you hear that drive you crazy when you get them in an interview?
Not so much since I've been in the UFC, but definitely before the UFC. It was like, how'd you start fighting? I'm like, all right, here we go again. What's your background? Now everyone, knows me, so they don't have to answer the same questions, which is really nice. But yeah, definitely before I got really annoyed with all the basic questions that people could ask.
Yeah, because that's the side of the podcast that I wanted to be on. I wanted to be the side which asked the questions that nobody else was asking, not the same old things, that you could just take somebody else's podcast, and change the name at the top and you'd hear the same answers again and again and again. I want to be the one that asked the questions that made people really think or consider. Maybe they change a different way of looking at things. And, there's just too many of these interviews where it's the same thing. Why did you get into it? Why did you do that? What made you fight? How's it like taking a punch and that sort of thing? These things have been covered to death and it's just so boring when you hear them. But, it's nice to see that your approach to it is to actually just go, okay, it's given me a chance to learn, to develop. But it must get really, really irritating.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And people want to know that. People, it's not a thing that, I can definitely understand why people are asking those. But you're right, it is annoying, and I always want to do interviews because I think, I never know who I'm going to interview with. I don't know how good it's going to be. I don't know how, but I always want to do them. And so, something I think about before I do them. I wonder how bad, how boring this is going to be. But I'm still going to do them. I still enjoy doing the interviews. I like talking to people, so it's good.
Well, something I struggle with, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now for how many months it is, 8, 10 months, something like that. Something I struggle with, is like, if you're rolling with somebody and you lose or you do something stupid and you get caught in a choke and that, at the moment I'm finding it's a struggle, to let go of the ego, to really kind of just go, okay, and go again. I focus on the bad things and I find my head and my confidence slips down and I kind of get into some internal BS in my head that saps at my confidence and I really struggle when I'm competing with others. So, is there a way that you can overcome this? How do you deal with losses in, matches, losses in roles and stuff like that? How do you just go, okay, nope, not thinking about it, and move on to the next one and just focus on that? How do you stop looking in the past and just deal with what's in front of you, the next role, and learn from it and just keep going?
Right. In the gym, it's different. It's a reset button. If I have a bad round, I go, all right, reset. This is a new round. I have to think of it like a fight. Would I be bad the next round because I wasn't great the next, MMA, and not, I've seen people get destroyed for 2.5 rounds and then come back and win. So you gotta stay in it and remember, and that can happen in training. Like it's not, as soon as I start to break mentally, that's when my body physically breaks as well. And, they go hand in hand. So I just got to remember that, it happens and I need to reset. So, It's important.
I really like that. I never really kind of considered having a reset button in my head. So how do you do that? Is that something that you say? Is that an action that you take when you want to kind of restart, like that? Emotional training freedom or whatever it's called, the ETF. Where you tap your hand in a certain way and that kind of resets you and restarts you. How do you do this? What kind of reset button do you have, and how could somebody create their own?
And that, that way that you're not a reset button, just like something in your head that you think of, in between, maybe in between rounds, maybe you got upset, you got tapped out, you got to start with another person again. I'm talking about training. There's a reset button I think people should have in their head, or reset, mantra that they say in their head to get over the bad roll they had or bad loss. But in a fight, when I lose, it just takes time. It's I hang out with my family, and I feel what it's like. Hang out with my coaches. I go back to the gym. I have fun again. I don't have a fight to stress about. I start to think about all the things I've done in my career and all the things I want to do. And I was actually getting tattooed yesterday, and my tattoo artist said, it's what happens if and he's like, I know I'm not the best tattoo artist in the world, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't tattoo people. And same thing, with fighting. Doesn't mean, that your opponent may have been better yesterday, or it may have been better last month, it may have been better last year. They might still be better. But that doesn't mean you quit fighting, doesn't mean you give up, doesn't mean you train less. It just means you get back in there and, work harder and keep doing what you love to do.
Well, something that annoys me, is the fact that a lot of the way that guys and the media and the entertainment world look at women's mixed martial artists is that they're judged on their looks first. They're not by their talent. So you see, like with the guys, it's the training camps, it's the montages of them sweating out in the gym, and this like a highlight reel videos and stuff like that. But then when it turns to the women, it focuses them on wearing bikinis on the beach, or these Maxim photo shoots, FHM, these sort of things. Do you find it kind of annoying that women will still be judged on their appearance, how they look, how sexy they are in photo shoots and things like that? And, that's where men and that focus on. Does that drive you crazy? Where it should be more on what you're doing, the competition, because there's some amazingly talented people out there, and it's quite sad that we're judging on a physical attribute of somebody rather than the talent that they possess?
No, I don't know. I don't really see. I think women that promote themselves in an attractive way or sexy way, or however they promote themselves, it's good. I think the sport needs everyone. They need people that are just tough, dirty, gritty girls. They need girls that look. It'd be boring if everyone was the same fit and the same personality and the same way to promote themselves. I think women, at Paige Van Zandt, for example, she promotes herself in a very good way. She's got a lot of sponsors. She got a lot of attention. She does great photo shoots. And then people always say, oh, wow, she's only in the UFC, or she only got that fight because of her good looks. And, I disagree with that. I think she got there because she's very talented. She works extremely hard. And, of course, she's good looking, so, it helps. But I think they overlook people's talent a lot. A lot of women, they overlook the talent because they see good looks, and that's not fair to the women. I don't, it's not Paige's fault. She's attractive, I just think, that was kind of answered the question.
I think that's very well said. So, what do you want people to take, from this interview? I know that we didn't have much time, and we're just kind of covering the basics. And I'd love to have you on again, but if there's a sort of go home message, that you just wanted somebody to remember from this, what would it be?
I don't know anything specific. I just want, people to, realize that, fighters, they work hard, and they, I think especially females have to work extra hard, and, it's a tough sport. It's depressing. Even after I've won fights, it's depressing because you get so much attention for so long, and then it shuts down, and you got nothing. And, I think there's a lot of hate out there, and I know I have great fans. I don't actually get a lot of hate, but I see a lot of other people get it, and it's not fair. I want fans to realize that, we work really hard, and, there's a lot of work to put out yourself on the line like that. So just remember, we're fighters, we work hard, and, we love what we do, but, give some people a break.
Now, you made the transition, from boxing to MMA. Was there a reason for this when you were younger, or did you just like the change, or did you find it a natural evolution to go from a striking sport into maybe more of a grappling sport? Did you sort of think, okay, you liked the idea of striking and you wanted to test yourself in the other realms of fighting?
No, people. My dad started boxing and then got my two older sisters into boxing. So at one point, me and my two older sisters all boxed growing up. My sister won prom queen with two black eyes. I came from a fighting family, and I actually started boxing at the age of 10 because I was getting pushed around at school, and I wanted to learn to box so I can go in and fight a girl, but it actually ended up never happening.
Now, you mentioned your father there. Did he have an impact on you when you were younger? Did he motivate you into training and taking boxing and things like that? Did he compete himself? What kind of involvement did your parents have on your fighting career? And, did they help at all with your interest in the mixed martial arts?
No, my dad wasn't anything fantastic great. He was a amateur boxer, then went into the Marines and boxed in the Marines. So, but then he had kids and stopped, and I think he got my sisters and I into boxing just to stay in shape and to show us, something new. And he definitely supported me the most out of anyone, took me to all these boxing shows around the country, every weekend, spent tons of money to get me what I needed and get me some fights that I needed, because women, it was hard to find fights. So, I think he's the one that, kept me in it for as long as it was, and he got me my first cage fight. So definitely owe a lot to him as my success, and because he supported me so much.
So what's your focus just now, because you're in between fights? How are you looking at things, or what are you doing to keep yourself fresh and keep yourself motivated and ready, and like in prime condition, ready for when you get that call and you get offered that next fight? How do you keep that spark alive?
Yeah, I'm training right now. I just spent a few months, in fight camp, obsessing over a fight, obsessing over a girl, obsessing over a date. So now I just get to go to the gym every day and train and just relax and have fun again. And I get to, coach and teach and just kind of, love martial arts and love enjoying getting better and improving. So, just at the gym improving till now until I get a fight, and then it's back to business.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much. I know we only had 20 or so minutes to do this, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I'd love to have you on again when we can fit in some more time into our schedules, and we can focus on, the various aspects of training of martial arts and really delve deep into the fight game, because I think we've just barely scratched the surface of some of the stuff we could talk about. I think you've got a very interesting outlook on life and training, and, I'd love to feature that further and have you on again.
Of course. I'd love it, yes.
Well, for those listening now who, are kind of intrigued and want to find out a bit more about you, how can we, follow your career, learn more about you? Are you active on the social media channels? How can we know when your next fights are coming up and watch your training videos and that sort of thing?
Yeah, my Instagram and Twitter handle is at ABCNation115. And I'm pretty active on there, so if you message me, I'll get to you. If, if you want to just follow my latest training videos or see photos of my dog, go ahead and follow me, and it would be greatly appreciated. No, I really appreciate this interview, and I really hope I get in touch with you again and get on another one and, be able to talk a little bit more about the fighting world.
That's it for another week. Thanks for listening. Absorb it, practice it, use it. Until next time, keep trying to hit that next level in your life.